Hello! Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm doing a bake with me and I'm kind of nervous because I'm making whole wheat bread with yeast, and I've never cooked a yeast bread before, but this is apparently a very easy recipe. I will link to it in the description down below. It doesn't require any kneading or anything, and it's like a one rise sort of deal. So cross fingers, hopefully it goes well. So the first thing the recipe says to do is to take your flour, which is all whole wheat flour, and add it to your bowl. So I have a kitchen scale here because if I've learned anything, weighing flour is the best way to do it consistently. So the recipe actually has a weight for what it considers 4 cups of flour, so I'm going to use that much flour. So that's my flour added. And then it says the yeast and salt. So the yeast is just 1 package of quick rise yeast, or else 1 tablespoon of quick rise instant yeast. I bought a little string of 3 packages just because I wanted to make sure that this worked well before I actually did it. And baking yeast always looks so weird to me compared to what I usually use as an inactive yeast. So I'm going to just add my yeast. This is whole grain and whole fungus bread. And all the yeast to get it all. And the salt, which is half a teaspoon. So here's my salt, here's my half teaspoon. I'm just going to shake it down because unlike flour, salt doesn't really settle, it's crystallized, and then mix it together, which I'm going to do with a fork. Because that's how I've always mixed dry ingredients for anything I've baked. So yeah, as I said, this is my first time making yeast bread. I have made like quick breads, like I've made Irish soda bread a few times, but I've never made a yeast-based bread. No, this should be interesting. Just want to make sure everything looks pretty well mixed together. Incorporated. And now it's time to add my last 2 ingredients. But what I'm actually going to do is put my dry ingredients to the side. This is some warm water. And I need 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. So it's not a very sweet bread, which I liked this recipe because I don't want a whole bunch of added sugar in my bread. I basically just wanted enough to feed my yeast. And it said to add obviously you want to add your maple syrup to the warm water because you don't want your liquids to be cold, because you need to have warmth to feed your yeast. So now I'm going to, 1 second. I don't like using a stand mixer for things if I don't have to, and since I don't have to knead this bread, I am going to mix it by hand. So I just grabbed a spatula, and I'm going to add my liquids to my dry ingredients. I'm actually going to bring you in close for that so you can see what I'm doing. So add the liquids in to my dry ingredients. And then I'm just going to mix it together until I have a sticky, well-combined dough, is what the recipe says. So this is a 1 rise bread dough. So I'm gonna leave you here for a second and go prep my bread pan. Okay, so I have my bread pan. It said to use a 9x5 loaf pan. I'm pretty sure that's this size. I have like 3 different sizes of loaf pans in my kitchen. And it's supposed to be greased. This is also a very non-stick, very sort of new loaf pan. So I sprayed it with a little bit of spray oil and then kind of wiped away the excess. It says you can line the bottom with parchment paper if you want. But I figured because this is a non-stick pan, it should be fine. So I'm just gonna pop this dough in here. It's a very sticky dough. This is gonna be tricky. Especially since this is a little bit of a, there we go, come on. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of spread it into the corners of the pan. And the last step before baking is just to give this a cover and rise it for 20 to 30 minutes. Doesn't say what to cover it with. I'm going to cover it loosely with a washcloth and then set a timer. Alright, so my dough is ready to rise, and then I'll put it in the oven, and I'm preheating the oven, and I'm gonna go eat dinner while I do that, and then I will come back and bake it, and that should be all that it needs to have done. So okay, 30 minutes later. Hopefully you liked the little time lapse I did. It does look like it's risen quite a bit, which is great. And now shall we reveal? Ah! Okay, that is beautiful. I'm super excited. Now we're gonna pop this guy into the oven for 40 minutes, and then it should be done, and it's that easy. Here it is, fresh out of the oven and looking so good. So now is the most difficult part. Waiting for it to cool so I can cut it. So I actually didn't wait until it was all the way cool. I was just really excited to cut into it and show you all what the crumb looks like. But long story short, this bread was amazing. It turned out so well that today, which is like the Monday after I filmed this, I actually bought a big bag of flour so that I could make this on the regular basis. Hey, Editing D here. Once again, I realized I didn't film an outro to this video, so you get a last-minute outro.
That was me making bread, and like I said in my final voiceover, I totally bought a giant bag of flour to make bread regularly. And because it turned out so well, and I have been requested to make a couple loaves for Thanksgiving, which, because I'm in Canada, that's next week. So that's how good my bread turned out, because sight unseen, everyone's like, that looks amazing, and they want to try it too. So yeah, thanks to Loving It Vegan for the recipe, because apparently it's a hit and I'm the only one who's actually tasted it. I will have the link down below to that recipe, and if you liked this video, if you want to see more different kinds of cooking videos or whatever, give it a like. Comment down below with the best sort of recipe you've made recently or whatever you're thinking. And if you want to continue to follow along with my journey in figuring out how best to eat and cook for my own personal health, both physical, mental, emotional, etc., I would love it if you subscribed. And I think I figured out what the notification bell does. In theory, it sends you a notification when my video goes up, so that in theory you watch it right as soon as it goes up, so that in theory that helps the algorithm, because the first 3 hours of a video going up are apparently the most important, and that's why everyone says to ring the bell. So I guess if you want to ring the bell, you could do that. I also have an Instagram. If you want to follow that, that would be great. And now I'm just filling time because there's an end screen going on and I have to have the end screen happen after the Instagram happens. So, welcome to all of the stuff that I usually cut out. I'm gonna not cut all of these pauses and ums out for the next like 20 seconds. Okay, I think that's long enough, and my end screen has happened. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the end screen. Bye!